Well, howdy diddly dandy there, chums. 'Tis I, Captain of the Steves, and today, chums, I want to talk about a poll that I put up. Now, I know that the Nintendo Switch 2 is just around the corner. Now, I haven't played Zelda Breath of the Wild all the way through, and some of the latest games from Nintendo out on the older Switch, and now the newer Switch, I haven't played. I also saw that Ridge Racer is coming out for the Nintendo Switch 2, which is a blast from the past, and I love Ridge Racer in the arcade, and I love to play that on the go. There's a few games for the Nintendo Switch 2 that I feel that I could get into, and also I could play No Man's Sky on it, and hopefully maybe it might have multiplayer, maybe it might have the features that the Nintendo Switch just doesn't have. So I was thinking about getting one. I was just thinking about it, so I thought I'd do a poll. I said, would you be interested in seeing the Nintendo Switch 2 come to my channel? No, most of the decent titles are on other platforms. Yes, Nintendo has some great platforms only. Maybe if it helps you cover games that are on a remote and on the move, 17%. You can see here that most people said no. Most of the decent titles are on the other platforms, 52%. But as I was going through the comments, what I saw here was a little bit of hesitancy, but for other reasons. The crazy prices being one, and likening it to the same sort of price model as the Neo Geo. Or people even saying, I'm not so keen on Nintendo anymore. What with them, stifling Pocket Pair or Power World and all sorts of other stuff. People are actually choosing to boycott Nintendo as well now. So I kind of thought, well, maybe I need to do a second poll. So I did. I done a second poll. What puts you off of getting a Nintendo Switch 2? The most in the below. I actually tagged in Nintendo America, so hopefully they might want to see this poll and just see how my community feels about it. We've had 284 votes. Gits, then pursuing Pocket Pair and other companies, only 13% of people hit that up, so not as big as a concern. Price is too expensive, well overpriced, 35%. Not as powerful as other platforms, 39% hit that up. So that seems to be the main thing, but price is secondary, and then them being Gits is quite a small percentage, to be fair. And again, you've got quite a lot of people sounding off inside of here, but something that got picked up inside of these comments that I didn't know about was Nintendo Switch 2. You don't actually own the Nintendo Switch 2 or the games. You own licenses to play the Nintendo Switch 2, or you own a license key to play the game. You don't physically own anything when it comes to ownership of the Nintendo Switch 2. All you have is a license. Here you go. An inability to own any of it. You won't own the Switch 2. You would own a license to use the system. They will give you a system that's a license. You also won't own any games. You'll be buying keys to unlock the licenses to use the games. See my point? If buying isn't owning, piracy isn't stealing. There's a lot of... I've had that. And I've gone and looked to see if there's any videos that actually explain this in greater detail, and there is. So there's a lot of people saying the Switch 2 is spyware, and Nintendo says you don't own it after buying it. And they can brick the device. If you tamper with it, try to jailbreak it, or put copied games on it, or use it for, say, emulation or anything like that it's not there designed for or not purchased through, they can just brick your console remotely. The games themselves are not physical. It gives you a license key to download them. So what's the point in having physical cartridges? Because the cartridge is just a game key code. And that is it. Okay. There's a lot of people saying why they're not buying the Nintendo Switch 2. And not only that, apparently the actual tech spec for the Nintendo Switch 2 has leaked as well. So here's a load of them saying that they can just brick your... Even IGN, 6 days ago. This is a worry, this is a concern. I haven't watched this one yet. I'm going to watch it quickly, and I'm going to see if there's any snippets in there that I need to make you aware of about the Nintendo Switch 2's spec. I'll watch it and then I'll summarise it for you. Okay, chums, so what this chap actually says is, although that the spec isn't as good as maybe the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox and all that, it's a lot better than the Series 1, the Switch version 1, which is all well and good. And he's also pointed out that the fact that these games are running on the architecture really, really smoothly. So despite what all of these sort of stats say, we shouldn't really worry about the actual spec, because the games themselves are running super darn smooth at 60 frames a second, 4K and all that sort of stuff. So why would we care? Well, I'll tell you the reason why I care is when you look at all this sort of architecture, the CPU, and I mean, that's all CPU basically. And then you look at the memory, how much memory this thing has got, and the actual type of CPU that it's running. I would say that these CPUs and the memory and also the solid state hard drive inside of the Nintendo Switch 2, when you add it all up together as a price point, I don't think that price point equals the price point that we're being charged for the hardware of the Nintendo Switch 2. Okay, it's almost like somebody that's got a Nissan Sunny Pulsar, which is an extremely fast car, straight off the actual off the shelf, straight out onto the street. Zoom, it's freaking rapid. It can beat a Porsche off the lights, 0 to 60. It can better a Porsche, and this is a Nissan Sunny Pulsar. It's a lovely car, you know. But if they charge the same price as that Porsche that it just beat off the lights, people will be like, I'm not paying that. I'm not paying that. It's a freaking Nissan. Sony, I mean, what Nintendo are doing is trying to charge Sony and Xbox prices and then some for something that is subpar. When you look at the components, what are we actually paying for? What are we actually paying for? And I think it's all about price. Although this chap makes a very good point. I mean, I've not subscribed to this guy. This is the first video I've ever watched of his. But I would say, although that the games run nice and they look great, and they do, I would still say that they're still behind the times when it comes to performance. And Nintendo charging the price they're charging for this hardware just doesn't feel right to me. So you know what? I think, based off the poll from my community, and also based off of what I've just learnt online about the whole thing that you're not going to own your Nintendo Switch 2, and you're not even going to own the games, and having hard copies of the games, they're not even the hard copies of the games, it's a license key, so you have to be connected to the internet. It kind of defeats the whole point of being on the move and being mobile and not needing cloud services. It looks like you're probably going to need a Nintendo Plus account and all sorts. So, no. I don't think I will be getting a Nintendo Switch 2. For me, the whole appeal of it was that I could go into CEX, buy a second-hand game, plug it in and play it. Not having to connect to the internet to then download it on the go. Nah. It's for me, that's just ruined the whole idea of getting a Nintendo Switch 2. And I'll tell you what, if I was to buy a Nintendo Switch 2, it's definitely not going to be brand new at the prices that they're actually being held at right now. It's going to be after they're second hand and have been out for a good 8 to 12 months, and we can see the full roster of games, and we can see if Nintendo backpedals a little bit on their policies around this whole ownership thing. Because that's not great either, is it? It really isn't. The fact that they can just brick your device whenever they want as well. I mean, I'm not being funny. I love the old Super Nintendo. And if I could get a little Super Nintendo emulator on my Nintendo Switch 2 and get the old SNES games playing on it, that'd be freaking awesome. Hopefully Nintendo thinks of that and brings something to the actual shop to allow us to do that legit without having to do any sort of tinkering. But to think, if you did tinker just to play a few emulated games, that they could just brick your device, I don't know whether that's on. I mean, at the end of the day, people have owned the Nintendo, the NES, the Super Nintendo, the GameCube, the N64. We've all bought these games in the past. And if Nintendo is saying, oh no, you only own the license, you don't own the physical copy, well then technically all those games that I bought throughout my whole time of being with Nintendo, technically I'm still licensed to play them, right? Right? I don't know. I don't know anymore. This is all a little bit squiffy. But anyway, sound up in the comments, people. Are you going to be getting a Nintendo Switch 2? or has watching this video or seen recent news, seen those polls, has it shifted your minds? Are you thinking twice about getting the Switch 2? Or are you just on board because Nintendo is your go-to place for fun games? I mean, the Mario Party games, the Mario Kart games, you can't really beat those, can you, when it comes to party type atmosphere, when you've got a couple of mates on the sofa and you're sitting down and playing games. It's always the Mario parties and the Mario Kart type games that you're going to want to sit and play. Or at least that's what I found as I was growing up anyway. Nintendo was always the party console. Yeah. Anyway, I'm waffling. Take care. Goodbye, and goodbye again.